Tell me your name and what
Claudio
branch of the
Orsi.
service.
What my date of my birth?
No,
March.
your branch of your service and your name.
Branch, Army Air Force. Claudio Orsi, Staff Sergeant. Retired. Retarded.
First question.
Yes.
When you were a child, as I remember the story, and you're in Italy and you're in the classroom,
Yes.
tell us that story about those guys coming in the classroom.
Well, we went. My mother had the Mediterranean anemia, so the doctors really did, in 1933 they did not know much about what was the problem. So they told my dad, "Well, take her back to Italy. Maybe because she had just been there. Well, I was the firstborn, you know. She had been there maybe 10, 8, 9 years, and the doctor says, take her back. Maybe the climate and seeing her parents will help her." I was in school. I was 11 years old. I was in school, and must have been, I would say, 14 or 15 boys, all boys in the school. And while we were in class one day, 3 or 4 Italian soldiers come in and asked. The priest was like the teacher too, and you got to remember, Italy in them days was not like United States. They were so far behind us. They came in and they told the priest they wanted to see the records of all the boys in school, and they took the top 3 or 4 boys and put them in a fascism. And a week later, they came down. There was maybe 25 or 30 of them from all over. They're marching down the streets with guns in their hands, and they were 12 and 13-year-old boys. So they were preparing in 1933, 1934 for a war. And a year later, I think it was in 35, Italy went into Ethiopia. I don't know if the people really don't, because that was not much of a big war, but it was a war. And they were already preparing in 1934 for a big war. They knew were coming.
Why didn't they take you?
Well, I was an American citizen. See, I was there on a visa, so they couldn't take me in. I'm not saying they couldn't, because they have made them. So when I went home that night, I told my dad what happened, and he says, "We're going home because there's going to be a war," and he didn't want me in no army. He wanted to get back to the United States.
Okay, talking about your crew on your B-24. How many crew members, and how did you get your assignment? What was your assignment?
10. We were at 10. I'm going to tell you what happened. We had 2 radio operators on our crew. We both went to school in Sioux Falls, South Dakota. On my way home to go we were in San Francisco. Not in Los Angeles, in the Muac Desert, in the Mojave Desert. They were forming the crews to go overseas. I had a delay en route, and I stopped in Omaha to see. My boy was just a year and a half old, and I stopped in here for, I think it was 7 days. And when I got back on the train to go to California, they had already set up the crews, but the crew that I got on, my radio operator told the pilot, he says, wait till he gets here and then he can be on, because we went to school together. He says we could have 2 radio operators on our crew. But when I got there, he already was the radio operator, so I was his assistant. So we had 2 radio operators on our crew. That's how we got. Most crews only had 1, but we had 2 radio operators on our crew, because I come in late, see. But anyway, we formed our crew. I'm going to tell you a little story my pilot did to us. We were a mock bomb run. We were on a mock bomb run. We were going to Salt Lake City to bomb Salt Lake City. We went through the whole thing, you know, like if you're going on a mission, you call the tower, you call. You don't call when you're on a mission, but we were calling the tower and telling them what we were doing. And then on the way back, we stopped, not stopped. We flew down in the Grand Canyon with the B-24. Down in the Grand Canyon. We were flying below sea level. And we run out of gas. On the way home, we run out of gas. We had to stop at a little town, and it was in the Mojave, not Mojave Desert. It was in the where they make the borax. You know, that borax that comes out. That's where we had to stop and get gas. But my pilot, they talked to him when he got back. But
describe your first flight in Europe or in the Pacific.
The first flight.
Your first combat mission. What do you remember?
We didn't even have a mission. The first thing we got of combat, we were flying into. We were flying from Hawaii. We stopped from the United States. We stopped in Hawaii for 2 or 3 days to get everything straightened out, and then we flew. Everything was sealed, all sealed orders. When we got on the plane, they were all sealed orders because in them days there was a lot of Japanese in Hawaii. There was a lot of things that they didn't want the Japanese to know, and we flew. We just flew in there. And they gave us a heading to take out when we left, and that's all. After we were out for half an hour, we were supposed to open up the sealed orders to see where we were going. And when we opened it up, it said Guadalcanal. So here we go to Guadalcanal. We had to stop at Midway to refuel, and then we went to Guadalcanal. When we got to Guadalcanal, we called the tower. Told them we were coming in. They said, well, you can't come in right now. We're under attack. And my pilot told them, we have to come in. We have no gas. So we had to fly in. While they were under attack, we had to fly in. We didn't have any ammunition in our plane. No, nothing. We just, we were so frightened. You cannot believe how afraid you can get. When they're flying at you, you're landing, you're trying to land, and they're flying at you. It was a mess. We got through that. I don't know what you want to know else about.
How about your first combat mission? What was it like?
I'm going to tell you that our first mission, they were soft on us on our first mission. They had been hitting I think it was Rabaul. I think they were been hitting Rabaul for about 2 weeks, and it was pretty well knocked out. And our first mission, they made us go to Rabaul to we just got a little bit of, maybe a couple of fighters and not too heavy anti-aircraft. We didn't see much anti-aircraft then. But then from then on, it got tougher and tougher and tougher. But when we went to truck, is where the worst. We got the worst. We got the really worst. We hit bad. We went up with I think it was about 48 B-24s, and we lost at least half of them. I don't know the exact figure, but we lost a lot of them. And then about 3 or 4 days later, they set up the same target. We had to knock that target out. The truck was a big supply center for the whole Pacific Ocean. And then the second flight, we flew up with about 40 or 50 B-24s, and we lost 18 or 19. The third time out, when we went to briefing, the CEO says, "We are losing too many planes. I'm going to lead this. Flight." He got shot down before he hit the target, and his brother, that was a commander of a submarine, picked him up. See, in the Pacific, we had, every time we went out, every mission we went out, we had submarines and PBYs picking if you got shot down, they pick you up, because we didn't have no land. It was all everything in the Pacific was over water. All our missions were over water. 16, 15 hours. Too long.
Did you spend most of your time as a radio operator, or did you?
I let him do it. No, I did some radio not much. I didn't do much because I was a tail gunner, but I did some radio operating. I tell you, I got what I did. I was on the radio one time when I was a radio operator, and we had a huge radio that we can pick up. We can pick up Europe. We can pick up all over the world with that broadcasting, and we picked up the United States. I says, get on the. I called the pilot. I said, tell everybody to get on the intercom. I'm going to plug you in. The war in Europe was over. We had a big party. The war in Europe was all over, and I says, this is going to be. But we were still fighting, and that was I think it was in November. I can't remember for sure the time that was, but about 3-4 missions later, I got grounded after that, and I came home. But they still went up. I think after I got home, my outfit went into the Philippines. I came home from wartime.
Tell me about handling your fear.
I don't know how can you have to handle it. I mean, fear is in everybody. I don't care. Whenever you go out and they're shooting at you, you're afraid. And I mean, you're afraid. But you have to take it.
Were you more fearful of the flak or the fighters?
Well, I'm going to say, the flak was we didn't have much flak until we went to Brunei Bay, and we caught the Japanese Navy at New Brunei Bay. Then I was afraid of the flak because we never saw that much flak in our life. It was terrible. We lost all the planes that we lost were due to flak. We didn't have any fighters there. It was all flak. But they put up a barrage, the naval, just like our Navy. Our Navy, if you ever watch some of the replays of when they're striking at like an aircraft carrier, I can't believe how many guns they have on them battleships and aircraft carriers. A lot of guns, a lot of firepower.
Describe being a tail gunner.
What do you mean describe it? How can you?
Of all the positions on that crew,
that was the worst position to be in because I'm going to tell you this, the truth. When we first got overseas, 70% of the passes were at the tail. 70%. And then they changed around. After that, they changed around because when we first got over there, we didn't have the new B-24s. The new B-24s, when they came out, they had a Sperry sight on the new ones, and you get a plane coming in at you, and you get them in the sights, and they're gone. When we first got over there, we used to get maybe 20, 25 zeros, and we'd get knocked maybe down, maybe one, get none. But when we got the new Sperry set, they come in and they would sit on us, just sit out there at 200, 300 yards and pepper us. When we got that, they were going down one after the other. They were going down. So they finally changed around, and the passes all came in from the nose. Then most of the passes were from the nose because it was both